We are the future. Let's talk. We are very glad to be here. We are very glad that you're here. It makes us feel good. It makes us feel hopeful that we all made the choice to come here and dedicate ourselves in building tomorrow's world. A world more respectful to human and the environment. During these 3 days, we've learned from and we inspired each other. The youth activators are students, young professionals. We didn't know each other before, but we are all burning with the same fire. It has been a great opportunity that SB Paris has given us to connect with each other and with you all. To end this amazing experience we had, we would like to invite you to take some time, step back, and travel in time together.
We would like you all to let go, to take this moment for yourself. For that, I'm going to ask you to please close your eyes, focus on your breath, let go of any noise. Picture yourself back in your 20s. You're on a nice summer evening. Feel the sensations. A nice smell, a peaceful noise, the light breeze in your hair. You're surrounded by your relatives, your parents, your friends. Imagine a conversation with them, talking about your ambitions, the vision of the world. What did your future look like? What were your hopes? What were you seeing when you were thinking of tomorrow? Take this time to really feel the state you were in, the energy you had, your creativity, your dreams. Take this time for yourself. You can now open your eyes.
Let us now share with you what we think about when we see our tomorrow. So I won't teach you anything by telling you that climate change is real, that climate change is happening right now, and that climate change is happening at an unprecedented pace. The summer of 2018 was said to be one of the hottest of the 20th century, since the beginning of the 20th century. However, in a few years, you will feel like, and you will remember it as if it was one of the coolest. Indeed, do you have an idea of the peak temperature in Paris if we continue like this, to produce like this in 2050? 40, maybe 45? Actually, if we continue, it will be about 55 degrees in Paris as a peak temperature in 2050. And because everything has consequences, the ecological issues will trigger major social challenges. Famine, raising inequalities, health issues. Do you know how many climate refugees there will be in 2050? According to the United Nations, it will be about 225 million people all around the globe. Eventually, the economic consequences will disrupt any business plan you have in place. According to the International Monetary Fund, the next crisis will be stronger and have a much larger scope than the subprime crisis. In this context of crisis, Every single one of us has a role to play. Every single one of us, as students, as marketing executives, as CEOs, but most importantly, as citizens.
Now, we would like to share with you our experience at SB Paris, what we've learned, what we've seen, what we've felt. First, I was relieved to see that we all acknowledge that climate change is real and that we have to do something about it. Denying it will not make the problem go away. Recognizing it is the first step towards finding a solution.
Over the past 2 days, we had the opportunity to learn about the struggle you face in implementing sustainability initiatives in your companies. Despite that, we also seen amazing, truly amazing initiatives and exciting projects sprout all over the event. And all of this give us hope.
However, sometimes I was shocked by the pride taken in the small actions to decrease negative impacts. I urge you, instead of focusing on accomplishments, to focus on how we can do better. We need to move further, to be honest about past actions, and to be more open about finding solutions.
So now, we have shared with you what we thought, what we felt during this event, our greatest hope and our deepest fear. But we can talk about solutions, right? There is solutions. Who think that there are solutions? Great. First, we think that you need to put sustainability as your core value, one of the main value that you will experience in company, that you will use to create strategy. But that's the easy step, because in the second solution is to measure. We want you to go further than just CSR reports that are great already, but not enough. I, as a citizen, want to see on your website, on your communication, that you do more, that you impact our lives as consumers, as workers. So please, I have one challenge for you. One challenge for you all that work in companies, whoever you are. By the end of this year, by the end of 2019, I want you to publish a report with your impact and what you've done during the year and what you will do in the few years. But 3, and most importantly, you want us to work with you, and we want you to work with us. But we want you to take your role seriously. It's important. You have leverage, you have power, you have things to do. So please, take your role seriously, and we will work with you towards building a better future.
Now, we want to be honest with you. We know you're willing to change as individuals, as corporations. But keep asking yourselves, what can we do more? For us, for our children, for life on Earth. We constantly hear that the youth will have to save the planet. But if we just wait for our generation to make a change, it will already be too late. We have tremendous ideas, motivations, and energy to create a meaningful future. But we need you. We need you to be bolder. And we've seen during those 3 days that you want to change. And that is hopeful if your intentions are real, as we need to work hands in hands to act and create a new story. One that is based on resilience, on respect, on love, and cooperation. We will use our differences as our dearest wealth. And that way, we will embody the crucial shift we need to humanity. We will use this civilizational wake-up call in order to reinvent ourselves. We will do it now. We will do it together. We will do it now. We will do it
Together.
Thank you.
Whoa. Do you have it? Thank you. Standing ovation for our Hacktivators, please. Okay. Thank you very much. That was incredibly powerful. You were very precise in what you had to say, and therefore for all of you in business out there today, and even beyond this room, following on social media, who are maybe seeing these broadcasts later, their message is very clear. Take notice, they're your future clients and they're your future talents. They've communicated incredibly well what it is that they would like, what they're prepared to engage in, to empower you with, and the vision for the future. So thank you all. I have a few questions for you, yeah? Okay, great. Okay, so first of all, can you tell me if how you feel today after 3 days at SB Paris is different from the beginning? How you felt before you came to this event? How do you feel more optimistic, pessimistic? How has this event changed you?
I'd like to answer this question. I'll say that, first of all, we are very grateful we could come here and discuss with you all. I would say that, and I already said it to some of you, that I am really relieved, because I think that now sustainability in the eyes of companies had changed from being a constraint to represent an opportunity. I've met companies who took that opportunity to reinvent their way to manage, to invest in new technologies, and I think that this is the first step, and it's a great thing. In the eyes of all of us, and I feel I'm still afraid. I'm still afraid that it goes too slow. The objectives and the dates we heard, we think it's too far, and that we want to hear more actions that are like short terms. And what I really, really feel, and I think it's the case of all of us, is that it is about people. And that I feel responsible as humans, and I hope that all of you also feel responsible.
Thank you. Anyone else want to share with us how your feelings and emotions have changed before and after?
If I might just add a point about what maybe shocked me during this event. We mentioned it previously, but I really want to emphasize this, was the fact that some of you didn't want to show vulnerability, and they didn't want to talk about their failures. And we know that the fight against climate change is something really challenging, and we know that you don't have the answer to everything, but please show us some vulnerability, because we're open to it. And maybe... And yeah, we're all in this together, so maybe if you have some issue that you cannot solve, maybe do an open call, and some people will be ready to help, because yeah, we're all in this together. That's what I would say.
Fantastic. Yeah, don't be afraid to fail. We can only learn from our mistakes and moving forwards, yes. Anyone else who's been shocked or surprised by what you've seen and heard over these 3 days? Hmm? How about something that's maybe motivated you? Is there something in particular that you've seen that's really made you feel great and feel empowered, perhaps?
I guess, we didn't know of each other when we started a few days ago, and these 3 days have been quite of a journey for all of us. we have different backgrounds, we had different visions, and I guess sometimes we felt a little bit frustrated about what was happening. But then in the end, and throughout these 3 days, we saw a lot of initiatives and of will, and now it gives us hope. We for sure know that we won't be working for a meaningless job. We really want purpose, and I know that you've heard that many times, but we really do. We want to have an impact. We know that we can't wait for others to change the world for us. We know that if we don't become change makers ourselves, then it will be too late. So we're hopeful because if you will, and if you show us that you're ready to change, that you're willing to change, and that you're open to discussions and to listen to all of our voices, then we will be willing to work with you and to try to build this world we envision all together. And to continue, as I just said, we didn't know each other, but it's been such a great experience that we all bonded, and we want to continue this journey, and I think we want to create sort of a movement together to think about and discuss about all the ideas we have and try to have a bigger impact.
Thank you. Please, yes.
If I may just add a detail, I had a positive surprise because we tend to have the vision of huge companies as very big boats that are difficult to change or that don't want to change. And what I realized today is that there is actually a fair share of people within those companies that are willing to change things from the inside and that shift the direction of those huge boats from the inside. And that to me was really hopeful. So thank you.
Thank you. And in fact, I'm just going to add something in here. When we were talking about, and I was working with the SB Paris team on this event, and they first talked about the Youth Hacktivators, I wasn't sure how it was going to work. And effectively, they didn't know each other just 3 days ago. And how they've come together over the course of the last 3 days, and the event organizers have worked with them, and I've buddied up with them as well. It's been fantastic. So for anyone else out there who is organizing an event, or if you're going to an event, make sure you're including the youth. And you maybe have a Hacktivation team at your event too, okay? Because this is the first time I've really seen this, and it's clearly working very well. Okay, so maybe a tough question next, but what can we do, what should we do to motivate the generation that's coming up behind you?
Well, frankly, I think that question's kind of a cop-out. I don't think we have time to wait to motivate the next generation, meaning the generation coming after us, and the generation of us being the next generation after people in this room. I think we're not the problem is climate change, and the question is how can we motivate ourselves to work all together, no generations, but as people to continue to solve climate change. And I think that if companies continue to provide solutions, continue to be vulnerable, and continue to search for innovations, we will come. The youth, the young professionals, we will come and we will work alongside you to fight for that better future.
Definitely. The change is needed now. But we have touched on education, and we're talking about how can we educate so that next generation, so all the work that you're doing continues at a larger scale, okay? So based on maybe the education that you had and what you've heard about education, do you think is there anything we need to be doing more and injecting into the education so that we can scale up moving forwards?
Yeah, I believe that what I learned in school, in primary school and high school, was more about facts and not how I deal with life in my everyday life. Everything that I learned, frustration, failure, relationship, was indirect. no one told me it's normal that you feel like this, or can we just discuss in a group and talk about relationship in groups and exclusion, inclusion. I believe that education should be about this, should be about, if I can rephrase, tomorrow the jobs we're gonna have to do don't exist. We have to be able to be plastic, very plastic, and always be in action and reconsider and critical. And today's education, I speak for French education, is too static. And we really need to put more plasticity into that education so that these kids are able to have core bases on which they can rely on anytime they are hit in their life and anytime they have to rethink a new way to do. Because today it's a bit our problem. I believe that every time we see something that is a problem, we are trying to think, oh, what gonna be the changes for me and what can I rely on and what will be next. So this would be my advice, really to change what we teach and the way we teach it.
And I want to go a little bit beyond that. You in this room are parents, maybe you have children, you have like 5 years old children, and that's great. I don't have children yet, but you can see that. And I think that education that you give to your child is really important because you're conscious that there are big challenges facing. And if you come from Europe, it's easier. But if you come from Middle East, for example, it will get bad like faster than us. So it's important to educate our children to be bold and to know what they are coming, what they are in front of them, to prepare themselves, to be resilient, but also to be optimistic and find solutions.
Just the last word, I would just think it's crucial to not separate sustainable issues from everything else. Mm-hmm. We're teaching French, we're teaching mathematics, okay, but the sustainability issue has to be at the heart of all of this, and we cannot tell our kids, as we were told, sustainable development, it's a concept among many others that you're learning. It is real, it is concerning all of us, and I think it should be more at the heart of what we are learning. And also as parents, I think you have a responsibility maybe to show as much as you can the example, to try and give those values to the younger generations. So it's all of us.
Thank you. Yeah, and certainly that was one of the things that we actually heard yesterday. You were talking about being more plastic, being more sort of malleable and creative with our imaginations and minds. And I think with Muse School, we heard about taking cardboard boxes and then taking them apart and then using them for something else. So I think definitely that's something that needs to come into education as we move forwards. But also, as you were saying, sustainability cannot be an add-on, like a nice to have, the cherry on the cake. It needs to be baked into the ingredients of that cake throughout the educational curriculum.
Can I just add a small point? It was to relate with the plenary that we had yesterday. So the solutions, they exist concerning education, concerning educating young people. They exist, but I also saw a project called Ulteria, I guess, which is educating children on sustainability issues. And so solutions exist, but they need to be democratized and they need to be accessible to everybody, and they need to become the new model of education.
I don't think anyone here is going to disagree with you. From this group then, do you maybe want to just add one last word before we wrap up this session in a few minutes to either give to the audience for them to share? You've already given them your manifesto, but anything in particular personal that's going to come from you. And actually, yeah, we have a new hacker hacking our session. I love it. Come on up here.
So during these 3 days, I've seen a lot of people, just a few people from developing countries. And I'm sure there is a lot of entrepreneurs willing to give the world a better future. And I think it's important to give them a place to strive. I think we had to invite them here and to share their ideas with us.
Certainly, thank you. We're a very privileged group to be here, and we'd like to see more people being able to share in this experience.
And just don't forget to do it with the right intentions. And as much as possible with the mind, but also with the heart, so that it benefits everybody and that it's going to be a thriving and very satisfying change.
Yeah, people are amazing, and you are amazing too, so be confident.
Thank you. Thank you very much to our amazing group of Hacktivators, the Hacktivators that are throughout the audience here, and also to Enactus, who's been working with them and coaching them over the course of the last couple of the days. Thank you very much, Hacktivators. Oh, sorry, one last word.
Just to say that we really prepared this together as a team. So we're representing the activators on stage, but actually we prepared it all together, all the 43 of us. So just to say, they're in the room all over,
Bravo,
so we can
bravo.
applause them.